Let me just set the stage for folks. I know people who have been listening to this for a long while will know about this fight. For over 4 months now, over 1,000 mine workers in Alabama have been on strike. They have withstood insane assaults against their rights as working people to demand fair wages and better working conditions, including not just typical strike breaking tactics, but actual assault from motorized vehicles, right? Including people who have been harassed at their own home, and there have also been some very, very suspicious activities regarding dumping of waste from the mines while the workers are on strike, right? This has been a very historic political moment of people in Alabama standing up for themselves and for their community. And I wanted to note what's been going on for the past couple of days is around 300 plus of these workers and their families went up to Manhattan, and they were protesting outside of BlackRock. Do we have that video handy? Yeah. And this is by no means the only video. There have been, there was a lot of actions in that day, and it just is a really exceptional kind of image. I think one thing that is an advantage of capitalists and capitalism is that it can sort of abstract itself sometimes from like those human systems, right? Well, the people who are preventing us from getting our wages, they sort of like just exist as a figment of our imagination, right? They're in New York, right? No, but these are actual people who are going to an office building and they're making decisions to not allow the workers to get a fair contract. And just if there is anybody listening to this who's not familiar with the demands here, um, the mine that these workers have been working in had fallen into bankruptcy, and it got bought out by a bunch of investment firms about 3, 4 years ago, right? And as the mine was facing hardships, the workers put it on themselves to make sure that they could participate in its revitalization. And they did that by agreeing to temporary wage cuts while the company was not profitable. So as long as the company was not profitable, they were willing to work for less than they should be making. And what's happened now is you have all of these capital firms, BlackRock being the most notable of them, um, have come in, and the mine is not only profitable, it's extremely profitable. And the working people here are saying, okay, well, we need to return, to our pre-crisis wages. And the company has refused and has employed this really nasty army of scabs, to basically try to break the strike. But throughout these past 4 months, it's just been a really impressive and beautiful story of solidarity and conviction, both from the workers themselves and from the community at large, who has come together to raise lots of money to make sure that people can eat, take care of their families during this time. And it doesn't seem like anybody's, spirit is wavering right now. And I just think it's really powerful to bring these fights to the folks like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we can share this Media Matters article that is.
Hmm.
It's nice to see this narrative getting a little bit of traction too. Coal miners are on strike in Alabama for the first time in 4 decades, but cable news is silent. Like, people, that Media Matters is finally writing about this. Is a good sign. It would have been nice, a while ago. But and then you also have this. Should we save the BlackRock thing?
Oh, I mean, I just want to note here, this is a extremely historic moment. I mean, give all those like articles that we were reading after Trump got elected about economic anxiety, right? Where they basically just, found people to sort of, promote a kind of media narrative about what the rest of the country thinks and believes about politics, right? And here is an actual example of people in a state that a lot of the country forgets about and sort of writes off, fighting for their lives against an international capital firm based in New York City. Right? I'm sorry, the story just writes itself. It doesn't even matter what your kind of political persuasions are, right? This is a very, this is an interesting story, just as like a kind of neutral media consumer, right? And obviously, the politics of it and the economics of it are make it even more human and critical to cover. And it's just disgusting that you don't see this covered. One, obviously, by the pseudo, Fox News organizations that pretend that they stand for American working people, but also for organizations like MSNBC and CNN to not touch this is ridiculous at this point.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find out if JD Vance has dipped his toe into it, and I think it's
I have a feeling he hasn't.
yeah.
I mean, he wouldn't want to piss off his bosses, right? I mean, that's somebody who has a lot of connections with venture capital. And I mean, this story really touches on the damage that's being done to all of us across this country by this hyper unequal society that we're living in. But more specifically, the amount of power that investment firms have over all of these different aspects of our lives, from things like controlling workers' wages in Alabama to pricing people out of their homes and communities across California and Texas, right? These organizations have outsized power in your life. And I think it's really important to start naming names and start showing up at buildings instead of just saying like, oh, well, this is like the system, right? Like actually starting to be concrete. It's like, okay, yeah, it's the system, but these are the people who benefit from it, right? This is okay, yeah, that might be the way the system works, right? But there are people who make decisions every day to promote the outcomes that we're experiencing. And I think I just love taking the fight directly to them.